Hey everyone, Adam Bjarnson here in our Coin Plus little studio. By now you probably know I'm the sports director here at Coin. I have graced TVs in Portland. It's even hard for me to even fathom, but 2025 marks my 24th year on TV here in the Rose City. But as you guys all know, we're being dominated by our phones and our smart TVs, so we're kind of getting ahead of the curve and getting you all the content and anything that you can consume anywhere, right? We're using our phones all the time, more now than ever before. I got some notice the other day that said your average screen time for last week was 7 hours and 20 minutes. And I was thinking to myself, you mean 7 hours, like a third of the day I'm spent on my phone? It's true. It's true. But our main goal is always to bring you content that is relevant to our community, and it doesn't get more relevant locally than the happenings, at least in the sports world and the news world, than what's happening up at Portland State University. And I'm a proud 1995 graduate of PSU, so the times there have certainly changed, and we're going to get into that. There are so many constraints on schools now with funding, with NIL, overall resources, all of the above, but a lot of constraints on schools. So really all over the map, and we're asked to do more with less. That's the American way, apparently. All right, nobody probably knows this better than the great Bruce Barnum, who is Portland State's head football coach, and happy to have him joining us now. And Barney, you are in Minnesota? Is this right?
I am. Bjorn said to bounce back here. I'll be back soon, probably before sundown tomorrow. But I had to come back and take care of a little business with the family, and still recruiting. I actually got a running back, a big back, committed yesterday on the telephone. So no rest for the weary.
I love it. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about him? Now's your time.
Well, you want to jump? Are you sure you want to jump a portal right away?
Oh, we're good.
17 minutes. We'll be here for 17 days. I needed a big back. I have some little ones. I love them all. They all do something special. But you need a big back in my offense and in our offense at Portland State, and somebody to pound, no dancing type of guy. But we added him. Got a nice transfer. He's only a 1-year guy. He's got a lot of experience. So you'll see him at the yard here soon.
I love it. I love it. I think of big backs from Portland State, and I think of guys like Joe Rubin, Derek Holmes. Remember Derek Holmes?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Punishing guys. Hey, it's funny, when you and I got started on this today, we had a little technology issue. I'm 55. This guy, guilty as charged. Hey, I'm 55, and technology, I know just enough to be dangerous, but it's constantly changing, and I don't adapt well to that kind of stuff. How about you?
You have to. We have to, Bjorn, especially in the recruiting world, especially dealing with my student athletes. If I don't adapt, I've got 120 guys wandering the locker room. I don't know what the hell they're talking about, because they are. You see this, or let me grab my phone. This is all you see. We're ride a bus, boom.
Yeah.
Boom, boom. So it's actually leading to a little cutback, not to old times, but hey, this meeting, there are no phones. Put them away, because now everybody's got a walking computer, a mobile computer in their hand, and it's different. I mean, it's a different way to communicate.
Yeah, no doubt. Hey, let's talk about the coming season. Spring football's over, but next season is going to be here before you know it, and it never ends. The recruiting never ends. First-year quarterback Dante Sachere has graduated. Are you looking, and I know you've got, 5 or 6 guys that you've got to choose between for your next starting quarterback. Are you looking for a lot of the same traits, Barney, that you did with Sachere?
We've got 6. They all do something, Bjorn, that'll wow you. So whoever it ends up being, we'll be more of a chameleon. We'll adapt. We adapted to Dante. Before that was the Davis, who's in Canada now. And,
2 great quarterbacks, by the way. 2 great quarterbacks.
but we'll adapt to what whoever wins that job. And again, it was a fun spring. I actually looked at the last two scrimmages like, okay, tried to step back and be Arntz, wasn't quite skinny enough, wasn't quite young enough, but I wanted to see who's the quarterback. Who should be the quarterback? Not from a coach, just from who's moving the offense, who looks great. And I mean, it was all over the place. One of the front runners, believe it or not, he's a pup, but Drew Newman, the Central Catholic
Yes.
guy, he wowed me sometime. But then he'd throw it to the other person, just like everybody else.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
it'll be a fun end of the competition leading up to that first game on August 23.
What I loved calling high school highlights with Central Catholic, and I'd always say, "Play me some crew, play me some crew, let's go." But by the way, his godfather, the great John Charles, good friend of mine, and possibly, quite perhaps, the greatest quarterback to ever play at Portland State. Neil Lomax, I apologize. But John's salt of the earth, as you well know, and yeah, that's his godfather. So he went through his camp, as you know, and just great stuff. Hey, let me ask you about NIL, Barney.
Yeah.
How has that affected how you're able to recruit?
What a loaded question.
I know.
Right
I come
now,
with the hard-hitting ones right away.
Well, our NIL, here's what's happening. College student athletes, all sports, football, obviously that's what we're talking about and involved with. Everybody's leaving. Is the grass greener? Am I going to get that paycheck? And this is how it affects Portland State. So they get out, they leave, they jump in the portal, they realize maybe too late that there are over 2,500 linebackers in that portal right now. That these positions, running back skill positions, that's the bottom tier of three, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Middle tier, linebackers, okay, you got a better chance. And then O line, D line, and that wow quarterback, that's tier one.
Mm-hmm.
So there's not money. Our NIL recruiting at our level, because we're not to the point now where I'm, passing out paychecks for $25, $50, $100,000 to buy a student athlete. Ours is who's left, and there's plenty of them, Adam.
Mm-hmm.
Who's left? Who really loves the game of football? That's who we're ending up with, and that's why we'll probably be recruiting. We still need probably 2 or 3 more spots. That might take us right up to camp. We need to find those guys. Okay, I'm not going to get rich, but I want to play. And what am I going to do? That's our pot.
We all have an opinion on NIL in some way, shape, or form, right? We always think, hey, I got an idea on how you can fix this, but it's like the wild, wild west right now. How can this thing be regulated and put everyone on equal ground?
Well, and it's getting bad if Trump and Saban, our president and ex-Alabama coach, are talking about it.
Yeah.
NCAA has to do something, but they're scared. They're scared of getting sued, which you turn around and somebody else is suing them.
Mm-hmm.
But there's 2 windows right now that you can leave your program. That hurt us. I lost 3 student athletes who I thought were on my roster. Now, we lucked out, and this is in the spring, right during spring ball.
Yeah.
We lucked out because other people had, I'm number 2, I'm number 3, I'm leaving. I think they're going to close this window. I think it'll come down to 1 window. And that'll cut off some of the NIL. Because the schools who have money for this, you're going to come in. I'm going to say Coach Bjornson, my agent, said, blank university is going to give me this. Will you match it? Well, there's no way I can leave now if there's only 1 window. You'll have 1 window for that, but you can't do it all year.
Yeah.
So that'll help schools. Will it help student athletes? Because that's what everybody's leaning. They want to make sure they're treated fairly. Well, you'll have that window. So either come or go.
Okay, let's role play for a second, okay? We like to do this. I'm a 3-star recruit. I play linebacker. I've got 2 other D1 offers. What is Bruce Barnum going to say to me to convince me to become a Portland State Viking?
Well, I'm going to show you how you're going to be great at my university. But you said Portland State, so I'm messing this up a little bit. Because first thing I do is float to what's happening, with my competition. There's numbers flying around out there that I'm not sure if they're true or not. Adam, you hear just extravagant amounts of money. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to give you here's $300,000. Here's $1 million, and I'm gonna buy your family a house. I don't know how far a lot of that is, but at our place, I jump. If you say business, I'm going to grab you because we sell our business school, we sell Portland, I sell my people, we sell our conference, But it has to be an equal ground. If I'm dealing with a student athlete, excuse me, who's going to get $80,000 at this school, we kind of go to the next one. And there's plenty. There's plenty. Right now, everybody's trading, so you see that group.
Yeah.
The people that are getting hurt are the junior colleges and the high school. People aren't taking it, so that's where we shop.
Interesting. Okay. I like it. Have you noticed that you've become a better recruiter over the years? So this will be year 11? Is that right?
At Portland State,
At Portland State, yeah.
but over
Which,
30 in the profession. If you don't love recruiting, be honest,
yeah,
you're not going to coach college football.
right.
Signing or getting a commitment from that running back yesterday on the phone, I still felt like it was, Christmas morn at 8 years old. And that's a great get for us. And you predict and you see how that's going to affect game 1, game 2, game 3. Where's he going to fit? How's he going to fit in the offense? But you do that at every position. I just watched a linebacker this morning before signing on with you because we lost 2 to the portal. So we're replacing that position. So I try to keep my staff up by, okay, we just lost a second team Big Sky linebacker. Let's go get better. Look
Yeah.
at this. So, glass half full. But I think I strayed from your question. Going on recruiting, how it's changed,
Uh-huh.
Yarns, is it used to be, okay, guys, take 4 weeks off in July, take 2 weeks off in July. Now we're year round again. We're year round because of all these portal windows.
Yeah. It's just, I heard this, and I don't know how much truth there is to it, but is it true that of the 12 Big Sky schools, right? 12 in the conference, I think?
Yes, 12,
Yeah.
13.
Okay. That Portland State, the Vikings have the smallest athletic budget out of all the schools. Is that true? And how is that? We're market 22. You're telling me Weber State and Ogden's got more athletic funds than Portland State? And what can I do to, help spread the word that, hey, Portland State needs more money and resources in order for them to compete at the highest level?
Well, the greatest thing that's happened is Ann Cudd, our new president, loves the game of football.
Yes, and we love her.
Yes, and Matt Billings, new athletic.
Yes.
I've heard that gives us hope. Are we at the bottom? Yes. So, the challenge when we do finish middle of the pack, Big Sky, everybody's like, well, "What the hell's going on there?"
Yeah.
Can you imagine them with money? But we're to the point now. It's not an excuse. We're not using that as an excuse, Yarns. We want to win the Sky. We want to go to the playoffs this season. That's why we have a Tarleton, instead of a lower division to start the season. I'm trying to get 13 games, but I'm coming up short because we play Hawaii, so we can play an extra game. But yes, we are. But what are we going to do about it? We're not bitching about it. It is what it is. When that comes around, and I like the talk, and our President Cudd got us back in Providence for one game. start.
Yeah.
Is that huge? Well, yeah, it is because we're moving in the right direction. So
Yeah. Is that you? I mean, obviously, you hope that that becomes the home full time for whatever 6 regular season games. Because I was going to school at Portland State during the John Charles, Matt James, all those guys that just killed it, and we used to put 15,000 people inside Civic Stadium, and I know that's where you want to get back to. The players feel it. They respond better when there's more butts in the seats. I mean, it's the full thing. You see what's happening down at Oregon and Oregon State. And when in the early to mid 90s, Portland State was all the buzz because Oregon and Oregon State were both programs that were down. We didn't have all the big stuff happening. But you hope that that's trending in the right direction then, right? To be at Providence Park full time and get out of Hillsboro. And we love Hillsboro, don't get me wrong.
Hillsboro's treated us right.
Very
Thank
well.
you. Love you. We're with you again. No complaints, but um, it'd be great to come home.
Mm-hmm.
President Kutch said, "Oh, it's stadium," but I said, "No. How about this? A new way to look at this whole operation. Drop my 2 money games. Do what everybody else does. Buy a Pioneer League game." The non-scholarship FCS. Everybody buys it. The going rate's about 250 to 280,000 right now.
Mm-hmm.
Bring them in, and now we're winning like everybody else. And the
Yeah.
playoff, the puzzle's pretty easy to see. Do that, get us to the playoffs consistently. People are going to want to build a stadium instead of you pulling teeth. So
Mm-hmm.
let's do that. So the first thing she did is get us back in Providence because the next thing out of my mouth was, we don't need a stadium. Call Merritt or whoever the hell, is the gatekeeper over
Mm-hmm.
there for Providence, and he's got 1,000 names, and get us back in there. I said that way we're across at the Kingston having beers after a win, and
Right.
Portland's normal again.
Yes, and that's how it should be. That you need to have a stadium that's going to be close to campus in order to draw, even if we are a commuter school, right? Um, I've got a guy that you know well, and I see him every day here in the Coin Tower, and he is the newest member, well, the very first member for the Portland State football program to go into the Big Sky Hall of Fame. That would be one Chip Dunn. What a guy. What a guy. He's actually going to follow us here on this interview as we've got just a couple of minutes left with you, Barney. But Chip, you guys have turned into really, like, you've had so much success at the running back position. And then you see a guy like Cam Scattaboo, who was at Weber, then Arizona State. Now he's going to be in the NFL. I mean, there's opportunity there at the running back position. Chip, of course, is number 1 all time for the Vikes. But those are the kind of players you want and want to attract to Portland State, right?
Well, you always try to recruit better, right,
Mm-hmm.
than what you have. But you say the name Chip Dunn, good luck, unique situation with Chip. For myself, I actually coached against him. I was at a rival school. I had to go up against that. So I know Chip Dunn like nobody else, other coach. I'm like,
Yeah.
now we have to do this. But and the best thing I think, honestly, about Chip Dunn, he's good people too.
Yeah.
He's not, some of them let the game define them. Chip doesn't. Chip is a down to earth, real person. You meet him, you love him.
No doubt. Yep, he's one of our favorite people here. No doubt about that. Okay, lastly, what does Bruce Barnum do for fun? Is there any sort of downtime at all? And are you a fishing guy? Are you a go to the Sistine Chapel kind of guy and go see history? I don't know. What does Bruce Barnum do for fun?
Well, you hit on two. I'm a history major.
Yes.
That's one of my majors.
Okay.
It was more frontier, not across the ocean. But if I get a chance now, I try to combine them. I'll take my boat out as far as I can, and maybe study a little frontier history while I chase the elusive smallmouth. But with the portal window, that's hard now. To be honest, it's hard.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I'll get out. I'll get out a day or so. before we crank it up on 23 July. But if I got a minute, that's what I would try to do.
Barney, you're the best, man. I appreciate you carving time out, even while you're back home in Minnesota, visiting family. Hope everything is good with the fam. And hey, we're going to catch back up once you guys open up camp in late July.
Hey, Bjarne's initial show, having the Vikes on, thank you very much.
Look, I even wore it for you, brother. There it is. Where's it at? There it is. That was Mike Lund handed it over to me. I said, that's the one I need. I need to have more Viking gear. So appreciate you, Barney. Thank you, bud. Well, I am so fired up today to be joined by Portland State's all-time leading rusher. He is live here in studio with us. Charles Chip Dunn from 1997 to 2000. Amassed more than 6,000 yards rushing. That's quite an accomplishment. I know the body probably feels it a little bit now, huh?
A little bit, yeah.
All these years later. Well, the reason we wanted to bring Chip on, multiple reasons. We've actually talked about this for quite a while. The main one, because it happened today on April 24th. We're going to timestamp this because Chip was just named to the Big Sky Conference's Hall of Fame, the Athletics Hall of Fame, first Portland State football player ever. That's quite an accomplishment, right?
It's huge, yeah. Unexpected. When I got the call and found out that this was happening, I didn't even know it existed. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know that I was nominated. I didn't know any of this was part of the program. I was happy just being in Portland State's Hall of Fame and existing there. And this was just quite an honor. To be recognized on a conference level for like male and female athletes that many of them have played on and done things at the professional level it's beyond me.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's great.
And I love the press release that was sent out too, because you said none of this is possible if I don't have my athletic offensive linemen really paving the way to help me get to all these, you know?
Yeah, they've always, I've never, like my whole career has been around like recognizing them and like the gratitude for what they do, because they're the ones who make the holes. They're the ones who are like paving the way. The quarterback, I had such good teammates on offense, like the wide receiver core. I don't think I just could have done this if it was just we were one dimensional. So, the wide receivers, my quarterback was awesome. My line was always great. Yeah. So it just made it easy to do to get these yards. It didn't seem like I was working that hard at all, because they were. That's why I feel so good about my teammates.
And Portland State's had some great running backs over the years. I remember when I was going to school there, and I graduated in '95 from Portland State, and it was, Derek Holmes was part of that. There's just so many. The list just goes on and on and on. Yeah. Career touchdowns for Chip, 54 of them. Career 100-yard rushing games, 30 of those. Career 200-yard rushing games, he had 8 of those. Just really an established career as a Viking, and we're so thankful to celebrate you today because this is just the cherry on top, if you will.
Yeah, it's I don't know how it happened. I don't know. The games they just kept piling up, but the mentality was always to just get to the next game. Mm-hmm. So it was, looking back on it now is more of a shock, because in the moments and when it was happening, it was really hard to kind of pull those moments in and embrace them, because you were off to the next game. Mm. So these numbers they're shocking, but it doesn't seem like it really happened, even though I know it happened. So I appreciate them. I hope that at some point somebody can get in there and try to break these records. That would be nice to see at Portland State. So I'm looking forward to hearing that too. If that happens.
It's going to be cool. Yeah. So cool. I want to ask you about what the NIL is and what it means. What would Chip Dunn, with all this NIL money being thrown around, what would Chip Dunn would have made 20 years ago?
I have no idea. I've thought about this, but I don't know. It's so confusing to actually understand how the pool works.
Right.
But I would hope, I would think that, I would have a bigger market value, but it's just fun to think about. But I like the era that I played in. It was fun to kind of commit to a school and stay there and work. You knew you had a nucleus of teammates for the most part that you were going to be able to rely on. And you tried to build teams within the nucleus of that team to win championships. It was a different strategy of football and a different way of trying to win with recruiting. But You know, it would have been cool to see who would have like come knocking at the door
Right.
to need my services. But Portland State was a great home. It was one of the only opportunities I had to play out of high school, and so I'm grateful for it.
And let's touch on that, because I know the recruiting process was crazy for you.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
actually had enlisted in the Army. Were you going? Was it the Army?
Yeah, so it's National Signing Day. Portland State had a running back that was he was choosing between Boise State and Portland State, and he chose Boise State on that day, and that was the day I was going to enlist because it was National Signing Day and I didn't have any offers. So, but that's the day Portland State called me because he made that choice, and so I signed the letter of intent without even talking to my parents. I just went home and said, I'm going to Portland State, and this is what happened as a result.
Yeah, the changes in sports have been rampant. We're seeing it year after year. And right now with this NIL stuff, it just feels like the wild, wild west right now.
Yeah.
There's no real rules to it. People were talking about Cooper Flagg, for Duke. He'd make more money if he stayed in school as opposed to being the #1 overall pick.
Yeah.
Who knows if it's true, but there's so many boosters out there with money these days.
Yeah.
Portland State doesn't have that booster issue right now because money's been hard to come by. It seems like every time we're talking, we're getting cut more and more and more. Ultimately, Portland State needs a football home. I know you follow them. You still are in contact with some of the players that you played with too. But what is going to be, as you envision Portland State long term? What do you hope is the final destination for where this school has its own football field, maybe?
Yeah, that would be ideal.
Yeah.
Where the school could support the athletic program in that way. That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
I do think that that's in their future. But they're adding additions to athletic directors, and they're doing different things like that to try to. They're always pushing towards that. I just hope that they can get there because we've come so far. I mean, there's been times where we didn't even have a chance to practice on the campus. We were driving to North Portland.
Right.
So we've come so far, and I want to see it get to that finish line where they have everything in house and can compete, because that's a competitive advantage.
It is indeed. We used to pack in 15 to 20,000 every Saturday for games. And even when you were there, it was 5,000-6,000.
Yeah.
They're getting 1,000, 2,000 now. I mean, to be out in Hillsborough, they've got to make that change eventually.
Yeah.
So, the other thing, and why we wanted months ago to talk to you, was you grew up in Pasadena, in Altadena, actually, where the fires were hit really hard.
Yeah.
And when all of that was happening, I was thinking, gosh, we should probably talk to Chip about, what has gone on with his family down there. Are they safe? All of the things that, you would ask the questions of. Yeah. Your house was spared in Altadena.
Yeah, so my childhood home was spared, yes. And it was pretty sad because the entire neighborhood was devastated. So it's kind of hard to understand why. There's a lot of confusion as to how this happens, because it's like this invisible thing that just devastates the entire community. Yeah. But my sister lost her home. And so so my mom and my sister and niece are now under one roof. So thankfully they do have the one home, but we did lose. My sister lost a home, and my mom did lose a different home as well.
Yeah.
So.
You just still see those pictures and you're like, oh my gosh, how is this gonna ever, how are people gonna feel if they rebuild here, and you got to get the builders, and you got to get all the environmental concerns that are happening down there, and all of it. I know you still keep close to sports with your two boys, right?
Yeah. That's really all I do, is just try to raise these young boys, and they show an interest in sports, and I try to support that whenever I can. And, anything else that they're trying to do, it's shifting gears. It's going from trying to be the best athlete on the field to trying to be the best dad, and supporting the kids with the knowledge and all the things that I've accomplished, and trying to help them ground themselves so that they can just be better humans than me.
Yeah.
So that's really all I'm trying to do now.
I love it.
Yeah.
And we get to see Chip all the time because he works in this building, and every time I see you, I'm like, there's not a harder working guy here, just like it was on the field at Portland State. So, Chip, congratulations on the Hall of Fame honor. I'm so fired up. I know everyone in Viking Nation is as well, and it's a great honor, and I'm sure your kids are very proud as well. So.
Yeah, it's exciting. I'm so excited for them to get to see this, because
yeah,
they didn't see any of it. So to hear about it now and to read about it is kind of fun.
I know. I actually went to YouTube looking for highlights and I couldn't even find anything.
There's a couple.
There's a few.
There's a
Okay.
couple, but
we're gonna have to get those and use them as
you have to
B-roll.
enhance the video.
That was a little grainy back then. Congrats, man. I appreciate
you.
you.